So what's alive in the field this morning is the power of coherence. How we can feel powerless in our human experience, in the human condition. How we can feel powerless when we are identified with the belief in separation. How we can feel hopeless. How we can feel helpless when we identify with the belief that we are divided from the whole. But coherence, the coherent heart field, the unified field, the knowing of the one essence, is a power beyond imagining. It's the power that will change everything for humanity. Okay, not talking small potatoes here. Let's kick off with an explosion, right? Because it's the explosion of true coherence. It's the explosion of the willingness to live a life where we are absolutely, sincerely committed to coherence over separation, over division, where we are sincerely committed to making our life a testament, we could even say a sacrament, an offering to coherence in service of the whole. It's touching my heart. I don't know about yours. That when we realize the power that we actually have as a being that is connected to the coherent field, that change is happening, and we may not see it in the reflected picture to start with, but a coherent heart is a heart that remains steady and unmoving and isn't affected by the picture, isn't disillusioned and capsized by the picture. A coherent heart is a heart that doesn't move, that is unmoving and knows the innate wholeness, knows that everything is whole, nothing is ever being broken, nothing has ever been divided. And in a way, our lived experience is about coming to balance and harmony and a knowing of the unity of this heart field that is coherent, so that we can live and move and lead as love and be the change that we are longing to see and to be, right? That we have the power to return power to ourselves. But it asks us to stop cohering and identifying with the stories of division and separation, and to be a vehicle for change by using the seeming discordance of a lived experience to realize this is not personal. This is not about me getting what I want. This is not about perpetuating the narratives of separation and division and fear and doubt. It's not about perpetuating the narratives and the belief that love is outside of us. It's about finding the place within us that knows coherence, that knows power, knows the truth, knows what love really is, the living reality, and making a coherence and finding our true identity with love, with the divine, and not letting the pictures on the screen of life dissuade us, disillusion us, and capsize us into believing that something is wrong or that we are failing. Because our success is about a heart that is true. Our success, we could say, in terms of coherence, is about a heart that remains unwavering, a heart that remains connected to the one power, not a belief, but a deep resonant frequency knowing that I belong to God and glory, I belong to love, that there is only one. And even if I feel like I'm not living it fully yet, I don't see it reflected in the life, and I don't always feel it, to find the place where that knowing resides. Because what creates a seeker is that knowing, right? We already know it. We wouldn't be seeking for it if we didn't already know it. We wouldn't bother, right? We're seeking for it because we already know. We already know because we're made of it. It's the substance of everything. And the intelligence that we are made of knows without question what we are made of. And it creates a mechanism of seeking, of searching, of wanting to discover something greater, something bigger, something truer. And even if it gets co-opted by the ego sense, the protective sense, in the journey at times, through desire and want and need, essentially when we boil it all the way down, put it in a big pot, all of the things that we think we want, and we boil it right down, and the distillation, and we find out, what do you really want? When you stop fragmenting into a tree of desire, and you actually come down and you find out, what I really want is love. I really want freedom. I really want to know the truth. I want to know God. And everyone will have a different word, a different way of expressing it. But when we are really clear in a distilled way about what we are longing for, in truth, we have found it, right? Because longing brings us to fulfillment. Because what is longing but God's longing for you? What is longing but love's longing for you? What is longing is the actual current of the unifying flow of consciousness. We could say searching for its own self, to bring itself through a lived human experience into the knowing of the unity, the coherence. And so whatever we are experiencing, it is the current of the one flow of life. It is the intelligence of life. However we think we're feeling it in a discordant way or a divided way, it is the same current. And it's about illuminating that what is actually happening in every heart is a longing for the one self, a longing to belong, a longing for safety, a longing for love, for happiness, right? And we have our own unique way, right, of expressing it. And sometimes we speak of the sankalpa being what the heart already knows. And in a way, the sankalpa isn't about wishing for something and feeling powerless to ever get it. The sankalpa isn't an intention that's kind of dangling on a stick way ahead of you, that you're kind of chasing rainbows, right? It's the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, the sankalpa. It's what your heart already knows. The reason that we long for it is because it's already here. When we set an intention or we have a desire, we're desiring to find what is already here. We're looking in the wrong place. We're looking in the external. We're looking in the play of the world. We're looking to people and things, relationships, experiences, to try to bring us what we are longing for. And somehow we have this reluctance to turn within and discover that what we are longing for is already here. And our searching and our seeking is really just a signpost that's saying, look within, beloved, find it, it's here, join the dots, cohere yourself with your divine self, cohere, unify yourself with the divine in your own heart, and let the explosive celebration of what Jai Ma is truly wanting to share, which is that the victory is already won. There's no battle to fight. The battle is with your own mind, right? The battle is with your own mind. The victory of the light is already one. Love is already perfect. Wholeness is already whole. And even though it appears as this crazy wild show, it's still undivided. So where we find the place that is undivided, we join with the frequency of coherence, and we attune ourselves. We attune our heart with the coherent field. We attune our heart with the sankalpa, with what the heart already knows. And we rest in that knowing, and we remain unmoving and unshakable in the play of whatever life brings us. We breathe with it. We feel the feelings. We let the weather patterns come in, and we remain coherent with the sun and its ever, ever shining radiance, right? Is the sun ever not shining? Is wholeness ever not whole? There's somewhere in us that knows this truth. It's not in things, it's not in experiences, it's not in the play of the world. And yet, the more that we live this and we cohere it, the images and the pictures on the screen will start to reflect to us. And this is where we say, notice the small miracles, beloved. Notice the synchronicities. Notice the flows. Notice the ways that you're supported. Notice the gentle kisses that life is giving you. Life is in perpetual flow, and it's constantly changing. On that you can depend. Don't be discordant and upset by the change. Let it fall away. Let people fall away. Let relationships fall away. Let jobs change. Let life change. Stop trying to hang on to the way that you think you want things to be, and cohere with the brilliance of the intelligence of life that has a unique plan for you in a way you are creating it. And when we make our coherence with the divine plan, we stop feeling disempowered because I'm not getting what I want and this is so hard, and we start being grateful. We start resonating at the frequency of gratitude for whatever is here, and even if it feels hard, we start resonating with gratitude for what is melting our hearts and the protections into a softness that is true sacredness. We have gratitude for the people that leave, the people that hurt us. We have gratitude for the tangles that we get ourselves in. We have gratitude for all of the things that fall away, right? The inconvenience that it brings, the big feelings that it brings. And we recognize somehow life is trying to shake things up. But when you are rooted in the unmoving, it doesn't matter about the shaking. You're just rooted, and you're sitting here with your basket ready to collect the peaches, right? And taste the fruit, right? You're not shaken up feeling like, oh no, life's changing. I can't cling on to the things that I want. We're grateful for the simplicity of the things that we do have in life. Clean water to drink, local, seasonal, nourishing food to eat, right? A roof over the head, a bed to sleep in, the breath of life breathing us into being in every moment. What more gifts could we wish for? We have learnt to want and to need because we learned very young to leave the coherence of the heart. We were told that we needed to be like this and we needed to be like that. And we learnt to leave the intuitive knowing of the unique one that we are here to be. If we are not living in alignment with the divine plan and the uniqueness of our own flowering, we can absolutely guarantee that life is going to shake us until the sweet peaches of our true unique being are being lived, tasted, and the sweetness of life is being devoured in every moment. We're not here to be somebody else. We're not here to be a desire mechanism that's comparing, competing, making ourselves wrong and feeling less than, and longing and chasing after what is not meant for us. We're here to cohere. And when we're trying to make things be the way we want them to be, to feel safe, when we're trying to anchor ourselves in things, we will be shaken and shaken and shaken until we find our rooted anchoring in the still silent presence of being. When we find our anchoring in our own heart, which is connected to the one heart, to the grace and glory of what is truly sacred and divine, then we find that we are unshakable no matter what. And we can breathe and we can feel. We know what we belong to. And we're not looking for anything external to validate us, to give us permission, to tell us who we need to be. We're connected to an intelligence that is supreme, beloved, right? We're connected to an intelligence. We are made of an intelligence that is supreme. It is so incredibly supreme. You can't even believe it. You can't even begin to imagine it. It's the most intelligent intelligence in the whole of the universe. It's wholeness. It's what God is. It's not galactic. It's wholeness. It's the intelligence of everything. Everything. We as humans are wired to know this. This is what we are made of. We are made of wholeness. We are absolutely cohered with the Supreme. We may feel in the story of separation that we are a lesser species. What makes us a lesser species is that we're dancing and wallowing in the nonsense stories, in the belief of division, right? When we are cohering with the stories of separation and smallness, we will feel lesser. What we are speaking of is not an aggrandizement. It's not about making ourselves more from the sense of an ego structure. It's about cohering with true power. As these words come, notice what gets touched, what gets enlivened, what is recognized, and also what gets stirred, right? The parts of us that are protected, the parts of us that are identified will feel stirred, possibly triggered. The parts of us that know the truth will feel enlivened and expanded, will feel a sense of knowing, a sense of excitement, a sense of wanting to soar like an eagle to the heights of possibility, of what consciousness is actually all about and what we are truly here for. So we started by saying to not underestimate the power that coherence has. That when we, in our lived experience, are unified, cohered with the one field through our sense of being, we join with the field of power. When we join together in that, there's immense power, and it gets amplified as a field of coherence. It has been spoken by wise ones that small islands of coherence have the power to change everything, right? It doesn't need for everyone in the human realm to come to this realization. It takes a small number of beings that are cohered to change it for the whole. You know in your heart of one of those beings that have been called into this time for this work, right? Because when you know in your heart that this is the mission that your human life is organized around in the deepest sense, that you're here to realize this, to connect into coherence, and to be a vehicle of service, to be an expression, a frequency of love. When you recognize this, it's like it switches on an activation in your consciousness where you can feel a sense of true purpose, a sense of aliveness, and it gives you a sense of rootedness. And it doesn't matter how the unique expression plays of life. We're all here to live the unique life expression, because we're all here to, in a way, cohere and unify, and then to move in our communities, families, constellations, as that frequency that naturally has the power to bring coherence, to bring peace, to bring presence, to bring care and patience. And when we recognize that it's not about trying to find a purpose for me, it's about just living this in your heart and following what feels true and allowing the unique flowering to happen. It gives us a sense of deep, purposeful knowing that in a way, all that we are being asked by life, by grace, is to come into alignment with love, come into alignment with the unified field, and that when we know that it's through presence and being that we connect to true power, we connect to a true belonging. And I speak of this belonging as an ecology, because it's a whole living field of reality, right? And we are that living field. Our lives are a living exploration. We're not supposed to already be there. We're not supposed to be living in a shame that we're not already there. We're supposed to be fully buoyant in the exploration, in the joy of the adventure. We're not supposed to be in a sense of austerity and that is rooted in the old paradigms of guilt and shame, and austerity being a way of shame and guilt being expressed in a human life. That whole frequency of lack, of limitation plays as an experience of feeling like I'm doing it wrong, I should be doing more, and a kind of sense of pressure in our system that feels like I should, I have to, I must, push, be more, try harder. But that's the old paradigm, and it's all rooted actually in separation. We could even say that so much spirituality in these more recent times has been born out of the deep belief in separation, and it creates a sense of, I have to do more, I'm lacking, I'm bad, I have to try harder, austerity, tapas, right? But the true tapas, the true austerity, the true vigilance is a commitment to see through the delusion of the mind as the master. It's not about creating structures of hardship in life. It's about being committed to love. It's about being committed to a collaboration with love, a collaboration with reality, and really being able to discern where fear is at play. The whole living ecology of this is a whole field of realizing that where our true safety is, where our true belonging is in the innermost atmosphere of being. That in a way we're being invited to come to a stillness and a presence so that we meet the divine gaze within our own heart. And in that we connect to the divine. We realize that we are supported and guided always. We connect to God and glory as a frequency field where true belonging is. And we start to enter a coherent field. And as we enter this coherent field, we're not looking to the external to reflect back to us, because our inner atmosphere is buoyant and clear, and we're rooted in wholeness. We're being resourced from source, and we're moving from a sense of a rooted knowing of who I am. And the living adventure of life is about the great discoveries that we can have through discordance, through things being a little topsy-turvy and curved and up and down. Because whenever we feel discordance, we're meeting some kind of belief in separation or feelings that are repressed and held within us, beliefs, identities. And life is giving us this opportunity to open it all up, to meet ourselves and come into a glorious intimacy with ourselves. And what happens is that we discover that that intimacy is love. That how to find love is to come into an intimacy with ourselves, with our own heart. Love isn't an emotion. It isn't about being validated and dancing in attraction with another being. For sure, when we connect with others, we can feel stirred and enlivened. The love in us, the knowing of beauty in us, the pull, the magnetism in us, right? Can be enlivened, but we can only love to the depth that we know what love is. And we only can know what love is when we come into a love that is a unity of the heart. When we are in an intimacy and a unity in our very own heart, then that becomes a radiant field. That becomes a frequency field that knows that love isn't about bargaining. It's not transactional. It's not even about human relationship. Love is about all of life relating with itself in a unified, cohering flow. And of course, the relational field is going to reflect to us where we're not coherent, right? Of course it is. So the relational field becomes the field of adventure. It's not something where we're trying to win and play happy families. It's not somewhere where we're trying to we're not even being asked to compromise, to be honest, right? That's maybe quite a radical thing to say, but I'm all about radical, because it's only in the radicality of really opening and looking that we discover what true love, what true coherence is, and what unity is, and how the relational field can be completely coherent. But the relational field will be the place that shows us. It will give us blinding reflections of where we are not loving ourselves. It will give us blinding reflections, glorious reflections of where we are protected, right? Of where we are a work in progress, right? And how fantastic, how magical, How profound that we're not here to try to compromise and make it work. We're here to actually get into the nitty-gritty, feel it, have the walls of our protective heart torn down by the belief in broken heart. We discover there is no broken heart. There's a heart being cracked open by life. There's an opening heart. There's a widening heart. There's a cohering heart. There's a unifying heart. There's never a broken heart. The broken heart is the story of separation, right? It's the story of brokenness, the story of division. It's the story of limitation. It's the story of lack. It's the story of I'm not whole. So of course it feels broken. Anything that feels broken is showing us that there's a belief that that is even possible. But the coherence of the intelligence tells us, impossible, beloved, absolute impossibility. Wholeness has never divided. So find your way through those frequencies and beliefs and energy flows of brokenness. Find the coherence in it, right? Love is at the bottom of the barrel, always, right? Love is always at the bottom of the barrel. Life is not what we think it is. It's not a story of me. It's not a story of lack and limitation. And that is why the screen, the world, is not to be believed. What is to be replaced, what is to replace believing, is our inner knowing of being that carries us into an inner knowing of unity, that carries us into an inner knowing of God and glory, that brings us into an inner knowing of absolute oneness, that brings us into an inner knowing of the supreme intelligence and absolute unconditional belonging, that we are children of the glory, that we are children of the light. We are beams, we are rays, we are radiance. We are not divided, we are not broken. We have never been severed, rejected, or abandoned, never. And we find that coherent knowing in our very own heart field that joins with the coherent heart field. And here, beloved, we find the beloved. We find that we are absolutely one with everything that we are longing for. We find power, we find love, we find wholeness. But it takes a commitment and a sincerity to stay rooted, anchored, regardless of what the play of life is shaking up, right? Let the tree be shaken. Let your roots be strong so that you can gather the peaches in your basket, not feel like a tree that's losing its peaches, right? You're rooted, you're rooted. You get to taste the sweetness. And this is what we are all in the process of. And we're going to have a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And we're going to think we're buoyant and the boat is going to rock. We're going to think the sun is shining and we've discovered the unity of it all. We're going to feel the connection, and then a weather pattern is going to come in and it's going to be a cloudy day. But we're not like, oh. It's like, okay, cloudy day. But sun, I know you're here, shining in my heart, right? So it's this commitment to coherence. It's this commitment to a rootedness that brings us into connection with where true power is. True power is in the collaboration with love. It's in the collaboration with undivided wholeness. And letting our life be a lived adventure and exploration, and then a living frequency testament, a modeling, a quiet modeling. Being a living emanation, an embodiment of love. and recognizing that we're here to just be sprinkling frequency fields of radiant peace and holding, to be the one that is truly present, that meets the gaze of each being that you meet in a way that says silently, I see you, human companion. I see you. I see that you are trying your best. I see that you are love. No matter what your life is like, what you're wearing, the color of your skin, where you come from, no matter what is happening, no matter of appearances, I see you. I see you, human companion, as the radiant light field that you are. I see you as a light beam of glorious, glorious shining wholeness, just working your way through the adventure of your unique exploration in this human life, right? So we don't need to be bothered about where anyone else is. We can't know where anyone else is. All that we're ever seeing is our own reflection. So are we seeing a reflection of love, or are we seeing a reflection of division? Are we seeing a reflection of making wrong? Are we seeing a reflection of lack? Right? Are we seeing a reflection that brings deeper gratitude? Can our life be a lived field that is cohering itself to what the heart already knows, so that we can really come to understand what sankalpa is, truly is. We connect to sankalpa as what the heart already knows, and a frequency field that's ever expanding as a coherent frequency of what this heart knows as the living, radiant purpose of this life, the one that I am here to be, right? To step into the power of truly being the one that I am here to be, that we are each here to be. Where competition and comparison falls away into a celebration and a buoyant uplifting of our companions. That I need you to be the one that you are here to be. I don't need you to be like me. No, 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 please, please. Be yourself, right? The oracle at Delphi. Be yourself. Be the one that you're here to be. When you're the one that you're here to be, and I'm the one that I'm here to be, there's a knowing that starts to resonate, where the coherent field starts to join as a constellation, a true field of coherence that has the power to uplift the whole. That's why seeming coherent fields that are following one person, where one person seems to have the power and everyone else seems to be like a diminished version of that, it doesn't have the same power. The field has to be a coherent field where everyone is uplifted and is holding the frequency of coherence, the absolute knowing of the one, right? That we cohere in a field where love is leading, and we discover together in each of our lives, what would love do now? How would love move now? And can I cohere with that? Can we reflect to each other and support each other in a way of discovering and uplifting and reassuring, so that we don't get pulled into collaborating with fear in these kind of seemingly chaotic and slightly wildly turbulent times, that instead of falling into fear and separation, that we buoy each other into the collaboration with love, and that we each find the coherence with the divine field, the transmission field of light and unity, so that we discover where true belonging is, true safety is. That we see the small miracles that come in. That we're always getting these gentle taps, kisses on the cheek, right? Little slaps. Everything is trying to wake us up. Everything is trying to turn us into an alchemical fire. Where everything that we feel is less than is transmuted in the fire of truth, the fire of love, to be realized as the frequency of golden, right? So let our hearts be in alchemical fire, cohered with the field of love and unity, empowered and resourced from source, transmuting everything that feels to be discordant into the frequency of golden, into the frequency of radiance.